Sometimes just pure grit, persistence, and pushing through is bravery. And bravery doesn't mean fearlessness. I love this. I think sometimes bravery means doing it afraid. Even if we're scared, we do it anyway. We don't allow fear to hold us back. Now, some of us are more brave than others, I know. I am one of those souls who I tend to go in to sort things out, and there's others cowering in the background and thinking, oh, flip, Leanne, what are you on? Okay. I understand that. There's some more naturally brave, there's some less naturally brave. And some that need to learn to be more brave, and some that need to slow down on being brave, okay? It's the same with our kids, the same with our husbands, our wives, our friends, our family. It's the same with us. Sometimes we are more introverts, some more extroverts, some more melancholy, and some more naturally sunny. We all have to put on our brave, and we all have to do it afraid. Joyce Myers has just written a book calling it Do It Afraid. I think it's come out of these last 3 years. We've got to just do this life afraid. We are naturally hardwired towards negativity. It's the way we're made. Don't know why. We all have giants to face in our lives, and we all need to be brave to overcome them. And I love Brené Brown. She says, if you choose courage, you will absolutely know failure, disappointment, setback, even heartbreak. That's why it's called courage, and that's why it's so rare. So I've asked Ross to share. Ross is parenting 2 beautiful young girls at the moment. And I've watched little Emily, my granddaughter, grow up, and I think she's pretty fearless. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I asked Ross to share something this morning.
Hello?
Have you put it on?
Is it on? Have I put it on? Yep, it's on. Hello? There we go. There we go. Was my fault, Tim, not your fault. So Leanne just gave me, I think it was 30 minutes, it might have been 30 seconds just to say this, but so Leanne asked me, there was a couple of questions she said, like, how do I define bravery? And I think the main thing that I define bravery as is running towards fear. Like, I think it's not that we are unafraid, it's that we run towards our fear. It's doing things that we're not, that we're scared to do. And as far as the other question was, how do you try and teach bravery to your girls? And I think the main thing for me is that I try and be as vigilant as possible about fear in my life, because I'm actually, underneath everything, I'm a deeply fearful person. And I can't actually teach something that I'm not. I can't teach them something that I'm not. They're going to learn by watching me. They're going to learn, and they're going to adopt my fears and insecurities. So the first thing was to try and root it out. And there's a quote. It comes from a Dallas Willard book, and it says something like, "The world is a perfectly good and safe place to be." And if you just digest that for a second, that's quite a revolutionary kind of statement, that the world is a perfectly good and safe place to be. And so I've taken that on. That's my motto, and I'm trying to be vigilant and root it out of my life as often as I see fear coming up, creeping into my life. The second thing was that, I think it was Roosevelt who said that. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. And I really do think, like those giants, like it does depend on your perspective, but fear is the thing that actually debilitates us. And I really want to try and root that out of my life. But for my girls, I want to make sure that they live their lives to the full. I don't want them to live half-hearted lives wishing that they had done something, but they were too afraid to do it. That's the last thing I want them to do. And I was thinking, I actually wrote out a little thing here that said, the world is full of pain and death. But if "don't be afraid" is one of the most repeated phrases in the Bible, and pain and suffering are all around us, then God must have given us a way to not be worried about pain and suffering and death around us, and that there's some things that are worse than pain and suffering and death. And I think the worst thing is that we would not reach our potential. We wouldn't be who God created us to be because we're afraid of living. And that's the thing that I most want to root out. And just the one last thing is that I was just thinking practically. Like the other day, Emily was up on the roof of our outbuilding enjoying the view, and Kate wanted to go up onto the top. And I could see she really wanted to, but she was too afraid to go up the ladder. So I think being a parent it's a balancing act between pushing them past their fear and giving them safety and knowing that they're safe. And so I just came up behind her as she was walking up the ladder, and I made sure I was close to her, and as she was walking, getting up higher, I could feel the stress levels rising, and she was sort of slowing down and getting small. And I said to her, no, just don't worry. Look, you're almost there. Just keep going. And she kept going until she was actually on the roof. And I think that's the same with God. He's always with us, whispering, saying, don't worry, I've got this. You're okay. Just keep going. So
thank you. Thank you. I'll give it back. Well, Ross is on the ground as a parent, and I thought it would really be good because I've watched, and Ross, I commend you and Mish on raising. So far, we see it in M. Kate, to be decided. Okay. So one of the first things, there are two obvious ones on courage, and the first one is don't tell your kids to be careful. When we say be careful, we're automatically saying the silent, there is something to be wary of, there's something to be afraid of, you might not do this okay. Instead of allowing them to enjoy the adventure or the event, I would suggest, like Ross did, great example, Ross, thank you, to look at the task and then speak it out with them. How do you think you can do this? What do you think you can do? How do you think you would, and then speak it through them. Because a less adventurous person, if they're told continue to be careful, they're going to go to their default where it's safe and sit on their bed or sit from the sidelines or do something. We want our kids, we want ourselves to be in the race, part of it, loving life. Secondly, you are their example. They mirror you. So let your kids borrow your confidence. Mirroring or social referencing, as psychologists called it, Ross just mentioned it, kids look to see their parents and they say, should I be scared now? If you cry, guaranteed they will feel unsafe. Guaranteed that courage will seep and just move out of them. When our kids are scared, we often instinctively want to put our arms around, we want to protect them from possible harm, prevent suffering, and help them escape the scary situation. But this tells them it's too hard for you to handle. You can't cope. Instead, you should tell them it will be hard, but you can do it. Anxiety is contagious, and often problem children get labeled irresponsible, problem children or fragile, but psychologists explain this pattern behavior a response to anxiety. So if we practice calm as a parent, it's also contagious. Anxiety, calm, both are contagious. It helps the kids, the adults, our partners, everyone around us to get emotionally grounded. And I'm going to give you 3 keys to remaining calm. The first one is slow down the conversation. This is a tool. You know how I talk fast when I'm stressed. Slow down the conversation. And then tell the kids, Brett's favorite one, breathe. Okay. And then fact find. And if necessary, repeat. Slow the conversation down, breathe, fact find. And repeat that until I can do this. You see, we need to give our kids, spouse, our friends, ourselves permission to fail. Okay. Breathe. It's okay. Slow myself down and look at the facts. I know for a fact that if we do the brave thing, even though we may feel really small, we did something much bigger.